So we've had quite a week, as you're probably well aware if you turn the news on. If you're trying to avoid it, I think that's the best thing to do at the moment. But obviously with he who shall not be named tariffs going across the world and now getting into a trade war with China, what does that mean for the caravan industry? Well, you would have thought probably not much because we don't sell anything over to the US, and that 10%, even 10% on a caravan is quite a lot. We don't sell anything over into the US market as far as I'm aware, so there won't be any direct issues with selling caravans into the US market. So I don't think that the manufacturers will be too worried about that. But obviously it will have an effect on the stock markets, which obviously you've been seeing over the past few days going up and down like a yo-yo. Some say someone might have known about that and benefited from it, but I would probably not say that out loud. What does this mean for the caravan industry and the market as we go into middle of April we're coming up to now? Well, we're on the back of a cost of living crisis, so you would have seen my other videos and hopefully know that the market is suppressed already. There's still 2024 stock on dealer forecourts. There's now 2025 stock kind of piling up. And because of the cost of living, the crisis, people were kind of backing off, not buying new caravans. And that seems to be still the case. I had a look around some dealer forecourts and I've been speaking to a few people and looking at websites as to what was actually out there. There's still a lot of 2024 product on the forecourts. You can tell because there's lots of discounts and sales and things happening. When you put websites on, there's discount here and discount here. Facebook is Swift are heavily advertising their products, and every now and again you'll see certain dealers having like summer sales and things like that. Now the only reason they do that is because they've got a surplus of stock. When we haven't got much stock, you don't put a sale on because you don't need to sell it. Sorry, when we have a non-surplus of stock, sorry, then we don't have sales because you don't need to reduce the price because you can't sell it quick enough. And that's what we were seeing obviously in the pandemic or just after the pandemic. So what's happening now is the global maybe crisis that's coming up. I don't know. I don't think that's going to get that bad because I think even he who shall not be named, that's Trump by the way, won't want to lose his own money. So I think he'll probably stop short of absolutely crashing everything completely and getting into too much trouble with the rest of the world. Who knows? It remains to be seen. But that will have a negative effect on people's confidence because you just don't know what's going to happen. So the thought of again going out and buying a new caravan, you might be thinking, actually, I might hang on a little bit just in case everything does go sky high, because that's what is going to happen. It's not the likes of those guys in the White House and all these rich friends that suffer. It's the likes of us down here, the everyday people and the everyday Americans as well, which is really annoying. Anyway, that's something different. So it will be interesting to see, and if you are or were thinking about buying a caravan before all this happened, and maybe you're thinking maybe you won't now, pop that in the comments. It'd be really interesting to see if this has actually altered people's buying process, or whether it's just what people think is going to happen, but actually in reality it's not actually happening and people are carrying on as normal. I say normal because I still think that as we come into this year, it's not really normal. I think we're still looking at a bit of a crisis in the caravan market with the dealers because, again, the 2024 products still being out there, still being discounted heavily, and distressed selling is going on with that 2024 product because they would have come off the finance line. So the dealers would have had to have bought those, so they're sitting on their balance sheets and they're not going to be making any money on them, and sometimes if they haven't been bought off the finance lines, then they will be getting interest at quite a high rate. I think it's about £100 a month on something that may be £30,000. So it's a significant amount. If you've got 15 or 2024 still having those interest rates, and that's a lot per month going out. So you just want to get rid of those things as quick as you can. Now the downside to that distress selling of 2024 is that you don't make any money on it, and B, you're taking a 2025 potential customer out of the market. So it has a knock-on effect, whereas if there wasn't any 2024s, then customers will be looking at 2025s, and they're not doing that, because why would you buy something that's very similar and when you can get a 2024 for 4 grand less than the 2025? That the 2025s may well be being discounted as well. But from a dealer's point of view, you want to move that 2024 stuff off your books, and get the money back in, so that you can keep on trading. So if you are thinking about buying a caravan, I think the best thing you can do is please go and do that, because what you don't want to happen is your local dealership that's around the corner going into administration. And I seriously think, I say I hate to be a pessimist, but I seriously think we're going to see more dealers struggle, certainly as we get into August and September time, when those 2025 products then get consolidated, which is a posh word for saying paid off from the finance line. So that starts to happen again. And that, you could wear it one year maybe, but then another year, if it's on top of the last year's as well, when you've still got 2024 product around, then it's not looking very good. Hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully everyone's tickety-boo and okay, and they've got plenty of funds to be able to do this. But certainly in my small little dealership, when I was doing new, that was my main concern. As we got into June, July, and then August, the product I have left on the forecourt, I just wanted to get rid of it, because if I had 3 caravans there, that could be £60,000 that I've got to find in a few months, or start paying interest on. And if you can imagine me as a little small dealer doing that, you imagine the likes of Glossop, Wonderhome, Highbridge, or whoever, with millions sat there. Yeah, that's not in a good position to be. I think what may happen as we go into 26, because actually the manufacturers will be phoning around asking for 2026 orders. I know we haven't even started the season yet, and I'm already talking about 2026, because this is what happens with dealers. Most of the time, on a decent year, we start selling the models, say 2025s, in September, and then we sell all the way through the winter, so that people can put the deposits down and get them, sometimes over the winter. But then as we get into March and April, they start picking them up. If you haven't sold most of your allocation, certainly by the end of April, and I would have said 60% to 75%, you'd like to think you've sold through by then, because people don't tend to buy new caravans when they're out using them. So they're thinking about using the caravan, they're out planning their trips. You don't really start thinking about buying a caravan that late in the season. So if you haven't sold the majority of your stuff before, let's say, end of April, certainly getting into May, then it can get quite scary. Certainly because also because sometimes when you put stock orders in, which I wouldn't have thought many dealers did a huge amount doing that last year, I think you start to get that late stock order in, landing on the forecourts in around about kind of June, July time, when in theory you're getting thin on the ground because you've sold through all the other stuff. So in theory it's a nice little kind of, you have 3 or 4 coming in, and maybe someone didn't want it till then because they're going abroad, for whatever reason. So we used to have some late season product coming in, but you've got to be a bit careful with that, because we start to see next year's product hit the forecourts in early as August, and certainly into September. That's when the manufacturers start bringing in the 2026 stuff. So I think there's going to be quite a few conversations being had between the manufacturers and the dealer principals. I wouldn't be surprised if some of the smaller dealers said, look, that's it, I don't want any more product in new, because obviously it's hard to sell for whatever reason, the market or the quality of it, which is another story. But I think we're going to see some smaller dealers kind of giving up doing new, a bit like I did a couple of years ago. So which I think would suit the manufacturers a little bit more. I think they were aiming at that anyway. They certainly spoke to me in 2023 and said, well, look, you can have them next year, but after that we're going to need to take on 30. And I just wasn't prepared to do that. Back in 2010, not a problem, but the prices were different then. As the prices went up, my sales went down to the point where it wasn't viable anymore. So that's when I said, no, look, I'm not going to bother. And I think that's probably where we're going to see some smaller dealers doing that. So we're going to have fewer bigger dealers, which again, from the manufacturer's point of view, will probably be a good thing, because it's a lot easier to deal with smaller amounts of bigger dealers. The only thing then is from a customer's point of view, you won't have so much choice. So you won't be able to go to your local dealer that's down the road. You'll have to maybe go to a bigger one that's near a city or something like that. So that that's a good and a bad thing. You got more choice. They might have different franchises, so you might be able to check Bailey against Swift against Eldis in one place, which might be a bit better for you. But also dealing with a bigger dealer, it's kind of like this is how I used to sell it anyway. Going to the supermarket to get your joint of beef for Sunday, there's lots of choice, but you kind of pick it off the shelf and go. But if you go to a butcher, the butcher knows exactly where it came from, and he'll give you lots more information and guidance, and it's a more of a kind of a personal level of service. But when you go to a larger dealer, I'm not saying they're all like this, don't get me wrong, but you'll see a salesperson, and then you get handed on to the workshop who does that job, and then you get handed over to a handover team, and then you don't see the person that you bought the caravan off. That again doesn't happen in all cases, but that's certainly because of the size of a bigger dealership, that's the only way they can really do it. So there's no continuity between what the salesperson said and what you get at the end, and there's several kind of things in between where they all start fighting, and I've seen it all. In between, the workshop doesn't like the sales and all this kind of stuff. But anyway, like I said, that isn't how it always goes down, but I've certainly seen that over the years. So you may find that the caravan manufacturers go towards bigger dealers and less of them, because again, it's much more efficient to be able to do that. And so that's the downside of maybe some smaller dealers not taking on the franchises. So what I would suggest is, if you are thinking about buying a caravan, please go out there and buy a caravan and keep your dealership going. That's really what we need customers to do. My sales here, I only pre-owned, and I'm down on last year, which wasn't a great year either. And generally, I know I'm only a small dealer, but over the years I found that what is happening here is generally happening everywhere else as well. It doesn't seem to be that I'm not doing very well and then someone down the road is having it away. It always seems to be that the market kind of moves in one lump, and when we're all doing well, everyone's doing well, and when one of us isn't doing well, the rest of us aren't doing very well either. Things that are selling are top-end motorhomes. I had a colleague of mine who was at a large dealership the other day, and he said they had £100,000 plus motorhomes lined up, couldn't get them out quick enough. Also, I've got a site owner that I know down the road. He's selling statics and lodges hand over fist. Again, he can't get them down from the factory quick enough. So that sector seems to be doing okay. It's the cheaper end of the market. I say cheap, I mean a new caravan now, you can pay 45, 50,000 for that. But yeah, relatively cheap. I think that's where it's being hit. And I'm speaking to that same customer, a colleague of mine in a big dealership. They were struggling to sell caravans, which is the kind of the bread and butter stuff really. So hopefully next month everything will change and things will pick up and all this palaver will be over. Fingers crossed, hopefully anyway. It will be interesting to see what happens. Every time you turn the news on, you just don't know what you're going to hear. China have just gone to 125% tariff to match what Trump's done, and who knows where that's going to end. Both people aren't going to back down, I don't think. We'll have to see. It has to hit Trump in his pocket, I think, personally, to make a difference, which I think is probably going to start happening soon. That's what I think anyway. So stay tuned for more on this. You probably know all this anyway, and I'm sorry if I'm going over old ground or obvious ground anyway, but that's how it works. Oh, nearly forgot the pre-owned market. If you are looking to sell your caravan, it's still tricky out there. You may have to reduce the amount of money you're putting out there for. and basically keep your fingers crossed. I've got pre-owned product on my forecourt, and there's no real rhyme or reason to what sells and what doesn't. I think you just got to be lucky for the right person to come along. If you're in the private market, you're going to have to reduce those prices, I think. I've been looking around on eBay and things like that, and they're still too high. When I look at the book, the new glasses guide, which is a national caravan guide, which is very good, by the way. Thank you very much to the people who make that. I still think they're a bit ahead of where it actually is at the minute. I look at some of the prices and think, I don't know if it's kind of worth that. I'm going probably £1,000 to £500 below the book on something that's kind of a £10,000 trade price, and they're putting that up at around about 13 or 14. And again, I'm thinking I'm not quite sure that's where it is. Obviously, when we look, we can kind of get an up to the minute feel of what's going on in the market. Yeah, I still think that the prices in the guides are a little bit high, so I'm certainly coming down below that. I've pretty much stopped buying at the moment. I'm only doing seller returns just because only the cheaper stuff, kind of £4,000 or £5,000. You know, when someone offers me something at £20,000, I just think I can't risk it. And to be fair, the only choice they got then is to put it on the forecourt, because they can't sell it into the private market. No one's buying anything. It goes on the forecourt as a seller return, which is better for us because, you know, I'm not putting my money into it, and the customer has at least a chance of selling it. If it's in the storage field or on a drive somewhere and they advertise it on Facebook or eBay, you've just got no chance. Especially not at that higher end where a customer is effectively buying sold as seen. And especially when you look at some of my other videos of all the problems that are in these caravans, you really got to know what you're looking at to buy something even 2 or 3 years old, where you think it would be all okay, and they're just not at the moment. So I think trying to sell a higher end 2 or 3 or 4 year old caravan into the private market is tough at the moment. And if you go too low, it's sort of, you get into that issue where it's too good to be true kind of thing. So you got to price it right. But I can imagine there's not a huge amount shifting in those kind of private markets at the moment. And I am selling a few pre-owned higher end seller returns. We've sold a couple this week, but again, it's nowhere near where it should be. So I'm not getting so many phone calls nowadays, because I think the storage fees and also the fees for the seasonal pitches, which we get down in Cornwall a lot, have come and gone. So people tend to rush to not want to spend on those, and they want to sell it before they have to spend on those fees, and that's now kind of passed. So that we're not getting anywhere near like the amount of product offered to us as we did, even a month ago, which pretty much every other phone call was, oh, do you buy caravans? And I had to go through that again. We also get them from We Buy Any Caravans. Unfortunately, the guys keep phoning me up and I just keep saying no at the moment, so it's affecting their business. Normally, pretty much I'd buy whatever they have to offer me, but at the moment I'm not. So, and I think, again, like I've said before, generally whatever I'm doing, it kind of reflects with everyone else out there as to what they're doing as well. And I would have thought if you go to anywhere, I spoke to a customer who went to a big dealer the other day, and they just said, we're just not buying any pre-owned caravans because they got a yard full of it and they got nowhere to put it. And also, if you buy it now, it starts depreciating. You've got to really kind of get it away quick, which is just not happening. So that's the pre-owned market. Unfortunately, if you're trying to sell something, I think you're in for a long wait, or you're going to have to reduce the price and just keep your fingers crossed. So again, it would be interesting if you were thinking about buying a caravan, or you still are thinking about buying a caravan, and this isn't going to make any slightest bit of difference to you, then that would be interesting to know. If you could put that in the comments and let me know, we can get a discussion going here. If you think I'm talking absolute baloney, which could be the case, again, put that in the comments. I love learning. I could completely change my mind with a few comments and a bit of research. I like doing that, so I'm certainly not stuck on what I believe to be true. I kind of just think that's what's going on at the moment, if some things come up on the comments, then I can certainly change my mind. So yeah, if you think I'm completely wrong, let me know. That'd be fantastic. Like, subscribe and all that kind of stuff. Check out Caravan Radio. I'm going to be talking a bit more about this on there. and also check out My Ideal Caravan if you'd like to get information on how to buy caravans and also how to fix them. Go to there and you'll have direct access to me for all your caravanning woes, and unfortunately there's quite a few at the moment. Okay, so I'll shut my gob and see you next time. Thank you very much.